Hello everyone and welcome back to Mystic Tides Tarot. Today we're going to be doing a what you need to know right now, pick a card. I'm just shuffling this oracle deck. This is the Sustain Yourself oracle deck, so we can pick our piles. First card is the wild card, a surprise. Interesting. Then we have Sunset, keyword reverence. And last we have Dolphin, keyword play. So take your time, and timestamps will be down below as always, and I'll see you in either pile 1, 2, or 3. Hello, pile 1. You picked the surprise, this wild card, and this picture of this oracle card always throws me the hell off because what is even going on here? Like, it really does catch you by surprise, right? So let's see. What do you need to know right now? We have the 10 of Cups. We have the 10 of Worlds. Okay, I really need to zoom this out. Give me a second. Okay, that took me a lot longer than expected, but we got it because these cards are kind of big. So we have 10 of Cups, 10 of Worlds. We have the Emperor. Oh. We have Fortune. A lot of 10s here. Let's go there. Child of Crystals with keyword learner. The Magician. 8 of Worlds change. Okay, there's a card that just stayed behind and I'm thinking this also needs to come out. So we'll put it there. Okay, so we have, this is wild card. This is a surprise. I don't understand why that card came out in the first place, nor why you would want to pick it. But it seems that you're about to enter a new phase just because we have two 10s back to back, 10s being the completion of a phase. Specifically with the Cups, we have emotions. With the World, we have tangible things. So maybe this is an ending to something that for a while was very much a part of your day-to-day life, and it did pull on some emotions, maybe big, maybe small. But we have the Emperor coming out afterwards telling us that time is over, and now is the time to be more of the Emperor, play more of the Emperor role, which is not saying emotionless, but it has a lot less heavier emotions involved. It's more about sticking to the plan, having the structure. So it's kind of like you're ending this phase and stepping into this one. Then we have the Fortune card come up, which is also related to the number 10. So that's another synchronicity. But with Fortune, it's kind of like we're somewhere on this wheel, right? And depending on where we're at, we may feel like we're doing good, we're doing bad, whatever. But the fact that this came out, it's kind of like I said, mirroring the 10s. It's the cycle, right? So the cycles continue. Even though one is over, another one starts as soon as that one ends. And at the same time, we're also intelligent enough to understand that we're going through multiple cycles in different areas of our life at the same time. So it's also to say that this cyclical like energy is always running in the background. The fact that it came out is just to me like that extra confirmation that you are ending one period and entering into another. You're in this transition phase right now. And maybe that's why the wild card felt, I don't want to say safe, but it didn't feel like a bad idea to click on a wild card. And maybe you're feeling that after you're ending this phase, or you feel like you've surpassed whatever that challenge was, because life always comes with challenges, that you can take on something different. Maybe you have a little more courage than you've had in, the recent months or years, and you're feeling kind of like, come on, let's bring it. And I think that's also why after we have this cycle ending, we start again, right? So we have the Child of Crystals, which is also like the first one of the court cards, the beginning of the court cards. Then we have the Magician, number 1, which is also derivative of the number 10, but number 1 starting from the beginning again, 1 through 10. And then we have 8 of Worlds, change. Now, the keyword change is interesting here because the 8 of Worlds, the 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is about building that skill set. It's not like the 7 of Pentacles where you're doing work and you're putting your boots on the ground and you're just trying to produce as much as you can because you want to get to the point of where you have the skill set. You're still in that learning phase, but you're trial and error, trying again, seeing what sticks, seeing what doesn't. But the 8 of Worlds, they already know what works, but they're just going to continue to repeat what works because they're now in their mastery phase. So it's kind of like you ended this cycle, you're starting a new one, but you're willing to be the learner. And that's actually what's going to upgrade you in a certain point to a certain level, because you finished a 10 of Worlds cycle. You finished a cycle of tangible metrics, right? So now you're going to keep growing in that way. You're starting over, right, with the Magician. But this time, instead of going through the cycle entirely, you're really going to master something. There's like something that requires a skill that in the past you may have worked towards and you really liked, but you never quite fully believed that you had the capacity to get to the master level. But now you're entering into that phase, and maybe you're like in your mid-30s, I'm getting here, and you're entering that phase where you're starting to believe that you actually do know what you're talking about on at every moment. Whereas in the past, you could see glimpses of your greatness every now and then, or people would compliment you every now and then, and you'd be like, yeah, I think I am that good. But then something would happen, or it would be fleeting, is what I mean to say. And it wasn't like really feeling very solid. And now you're entering this phase where things are going to start feeling really, really solid. Then we have this major, we actually have quite a few, a good amount of major arcanas here. We have the Emperor, we have Fortune, Magician, we have Art. This is actually Temperance. This isn't, this deck, the Voyager Tarot, it explains the tarot in a different way. It's not your typical definitions of tarot. I read it as a hybrid, but I'm just saying that in case you are kind of confused as to why there's different names and why the keywords sometimes may not make sense with the way that they're traditionally understood, or maybe even with the way that I'm saying them. And that's apart from the intuitive understanding of the cards, because that also gets braided in. I don't know if you could hear the ambulance. Or actually, I think those are the firefighters. But okay, so this is Temperance. So Temperance is about a few different things, but this is named Art. So it's kind of like saying to create an art, a true art, it's not about rushing the process, and it's not about trying to perfect something in a way that we think it should be done. It's more about balancing things out as we continue to fine-tune the process. And this kind of goes back into the Eight of Worlds. So I really want to stand very, very strong with the message that I've been sharing with you, which is that you're going to step into a phase of confidence with your own self, with your own abilities, and with your own skills. And I don't know if this is something that perhaps you've been wanting so bad that you didn't even think you might get it, and you kind of had already accepted it. And I don't know why I said that, but maybe that's another way to confirm the message for you, if that's how you felt in the past. But like I said, you're entering into a very, very beautiful time in your life because you're willing to let loose a little bit more. And because of that, you're going to be surprised in a very pleasant way. Fortune is on your side. You are now embodying the Magician, and you're going to be able to truly see your own power. And it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to confuse it as coincidence anymore. It's going to be so blatantly obvious that it's not a coincidence. It's going to make you laugh when you realize it. It's beautiful. Okay, pile one, that is your reading for today. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye. Hello, pile two. You picked the Sunset card. A bit of a coincidence, maybe not, but the sun is setting where I am at right now. But let's see, what do you need to know? Nurturing, Three of Worlds, Eight of Crystals, Seven of Cups, Five of Cups, the sun. It's always nice to see the sun after the Five of Cups, I'll tell you. The Lovers, Five of Worlds, Eight of Cups. Okay, there's a lot of leaving energy. We have the Sunset. We also have the Eight of Crystals, the Eight of Cups, the Five of Worlds, and the Five of Cups. We have two eights and two fives. So it's kind of like you're on the verge of having some type, or you are in some type of a conflict. And this could be mainly of like a inner conflict, but it could also be provoked by external things. because we are heavily influenced by our environment, of course. But because of the Five of Cups and the Eight of Crystals, I feel inclined to say that more often than not, you find yourself in your head it's not the most helpful. Like, it's not the most conducive thing for where you're at right now. It's kind of like a scary place for you to be sometimes. And I'm not trying to like scare you or anything like that. I do see the keyword fear here with the Seven of Cups, but I think the fear is not fear of yourself, but fear of your own capacity. Your capacity, because you understand how quickly you can go from one place to another in your mind. And it's a very powerful thing to be able to do, but you're also at the mercy of your own creativity when it comes to being in your mind and your thoughts. And the other reason that I say this is because the Seven of Cups is also a card of having a lot of options, a lot of choices. You know, I'm just going to give this weird example, or maybe it's not so weird, but like you're going to the store and the store specializes in selling cell phones. Selling cell phones. I don't know why that sounded weird to me. But yeah, they're selling cell phones and you're looking for a cell phone and they have like 20 different makes and models. And you're just stuck there for hours and hours and hours because you cannot make up your mind. And at first it was exciting because you're like, oh my gosh, so many options. I love it. I get exactly what I want. But then after a while, you've eliminated maybe half of the choices, but you still have to eliminate another 9 because you're only going to walk out with 1. And now you're feeling overwhelmed and you're tired, you're exhausted, you're getting a little bit hungry, your feet are hurting because you've been standing the whole time. And it's starting to become more of a burden than it is a luxury. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. It's because your mind is so expansive and so beautiful and creative. It is also hindering you at times when decisions need to be made now, when decisions need to be made fast. But the Sun coming out and then the Lovers after that, it's kind of like you're going to have that turmoil, but you have the ability to get out of it and you have the ability to make the right choice because the Lovers card is a card of choice as well. It's like, it could mean so many different things, but it could be the choice between thing A and thing B, between going down this path, going down that path. And the way that differs from the Seven of Cups is because the Seven of Cups is the overwhelm of the choice, whereas in the Lovers is literally just 2 choices and you know whether you want something or you don't. It's not very like wishy-washy. You're not trying to balance the scales there. You're not going back and forth. It's either you're going or you're not going to go. And that's like a much needed relief in your situation from going, you know, from a place of overwhelm because of too many choices to just having 2 choices and it being extremely obvious which one is for you. So that's going to come up for you eventually, but it's up to you. You know, I think it's also interesting once again, because it just clicked in my head. The sun set and then the sun came out. And I don't know why it feels silly of me to say that, but, yeah, it's kind of like right now you're feeling more of like the sun is setting on you, but the sun is still very much there. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it ceases to exist. So just because you happen to be in this like ocean of thoughts and choices and you feel a little bit like the waves are moving you instead of you being in control, the sun is still present and it's still there to keep you warm. It's never gone. You just have to remember that it's there. So it's kind of like, remember that you do have the control in your mind. You do have the ability to say, I'm not going to think about that, or I am going to think about that. You have the ability to make promises to yourself. And I would even go as far as to say you can make contracts with yourself. Something about contracts, something about you having to make contracts with yourself. Maybe you need to start automatic writing, journaling, or even like journaling this specific scenario and saying, okay, what contract do I need to have with myself? Okay, like this contract stipulates that I am not allowed to have more than this many choices per topic area of my life. I don't know, something like that. And maybe that is like very directionless. I don't know, but that's what I'm being told to tell you. And then we have Five of Worlds here, setback. Why? Why after we go through all of this bullshittery and then we finally realize, wait a second, I have the sun at all times. I can always use that to illuminate the options that are best for me. So I know exactly which out of the 2 is for me. Why is there a setback? Why? Because a lot of the times old habits die hard. So this is a habit. It's not who you are. It's not who you're meant to be. It's just the pattern that you got into, okay? And to get out of patterns requires effort. So you need to keep applying this effort. It's kind of like rinse and repeat with the sun and the lovers. Rinse and repeat. The lovers is a product of you realizing that the sun is still there and that you have the sun within you, okay? So the product of the sun is the lovers. So you don't have to do anything too much with the lovers. It's kind of like just saying because of this, then this. But just remembering the sun. The sun is really important right now. And I don't know if you're in the southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere, but I'm thinking you're in the northern hemisphere because the sun is so important. But even if you're in the northern, it's important. I'm not trying to say it's not, but because we're literally at spring, like on the cusp of it being spring. That's why I say the sun and the northern hemisphere. It's just been feeling in my personal life and in my body and in my witchcraft practice, the sun has come out to play. The sun is a beckoning. It's saying, come on, let's go outside. Let's go do things. And maybe that's something you needed to hear as well. I don't know how often you go into hermit mode, or if you just go to your job and back home and there's no time for fun, or there's no time out in the sun. You know, did not mean to rhyme there, but hey. But yeah, stagnation, 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups is the card of leaving something that no longer serves you. 8 of Cups is the card of, a lot of times that's also emotions, right? Leaving certain emotions, habits that no longer serve you. And then the keyword there being stagnation. Why? Because if you refuse to leave something just because it's uncomfortable, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get stuck. It's going to be a stagnated energy that you're going to be carrying. So you're just going to continue your suffering in a way that could have been like left. Right? Because this is very much in your control. You are not out of control in this situation, okay? You're very much in control. So it's kind of like the general advice is make sure that you're making moves and that you're remembering that the sun is still with you. You are the sun energy, and it's going to help you see which one of these like choices need to be eliminated, because there should just be like, it should be easy as like, okay, yeah, I do want that. No, I don't want that. You shouldn't be having to like go back and forth and think about it too much and think about all these options. And then what if this, what if that, because you can get into a really like, I don't want to say depressive, but you can get sad. You can get into a place where you don't want to be, and you can definitely get yourself out of there. Yes, for some of us, it takes more time than others, but you can definitely get yourself out of there. Do what you have to do to be good. That's like the number one advice here. Okay, pile 2, that's the message that I have for you. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Hello, pile 3. You chose the card Dolphin, keyword play. That's really beautiful. I love that energy for the season that we're in right now. I've really been feeling that energy really coming through, even with all the crap that's going on in the United States, which is where I'm from. But there's always crap going on, isn't there? If it's not here, it's somewhere else in the world, and someone's always got it way worse than I do. That's for damn sure. I'm not even going to try to pretend that I'm going through a whole lot of things, because I also have the ability to minimize my stuff. Okay, now I'm just like making this my own therapy session. Okay, I'm going to stop. What do you need to know right now? Pile 3. 10 of Wands. 3 of Crystals, Strength, the Magician, the Emperor. Okay, both of these came out in pile 1. And this came out in pile 2. And then last card, actually, the bottom of the pile, 3 of Worlds. Okay, that one came out, I think, in pile 2 as well. It's always like very common to see repeater cards. I think it's because since these are collective readings, it's kind of like, not only that actually, I take that back. Obviously they're collective readings, but we all tend to be going through something that's touching someone else's something, you know? Maybe that sounded weird, but I think you know what I'm saying. Okay, this pile, they are people who know how to take a joke, because as soon as I started with this pile, I started feeling that energy. And you can check back on pile 1 and 2 in the middle or in the beginning or at the end of those piles. I am not in this type of energy, just in case you want to check. But yeah, I was not feeling very playful at all in those last 2 piles. So this is a nice change of pace. Okay, so what do you need to know right now? We have 10 of Wands, then we have 3 crystals, 3 of Crystals, then we have Strength. So 10 of Wands and Strength, I feel like really go hand in hand, because the 10 of Wands is the card of carrying a lot. And this doesn't necessarily have to be in a painful way, but a lot of the times it can feel like an extreme burden depending on where you're at. right? Like where you're at with your coping skills, where you're at mentally, where you are at emotionally. Like if it's one of those things where the only people that can carry the 10 of Wands and not collapse are the ones who just started to carry the 10 of Wands, and or the ones who have been carrying a lot of wands for a long time and then happen to carry an extra wand from time to time. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is 10 of Wands is not for someone who is already having a super hyper stress life. So maybe, and I feel it's really ironic that we get the 10 of Wands and the Strength card when we got the Dolphin as the Oracle, because the Dolphin in play. So maybe you've been wanting to play and you feel that energy of wanting to engage in play because you've gone through a period of carrying a lot. And maybe you didn't even realize you were carrying as much as you were carrying until you started craving play, or until you started thinking, wait, when was the last time that I went to dance? When was the last time that I went out to eat with a friend? When was the last time I took myself out on a date? You know, like when did I do any of those things? Have I ever even done those things is another question that might arise, right? So it's also one of those things, right? Because we see 3 of crystals, 3 of crystals, 3 of swords. This is the 3 of swords is the heartbreak card. Okay. So the 10 of wands saying growth, 3 of crystals here says creativity, but I see 3 of crystals, 3 of swords is the heartbreak card. So we have this heartbreak, right? This realization that we haven't maybe been giving ourselves what we need to be giving. And this could be, like I said, in the realm of play. It could be creativity. It could be even in the area of growth, but not growth in the sense where it's the growth that really pays you the way the society wants it to, you know? It could be growth in like a creative endeavor, or it could be growth in the self where nobody can really tell until maybe you talk to them for a long time after you haven't talked to them in a while and they're like, wow, you really changed, you know? But it's not like this obvious payout, okay? And the strength is saying, this is why the strength is required, okay? Because it's not, it's not very transactional. It's not obviously transactional, okay? Now we have the Magician, the Emperor, the Sun. 3 major arcanas back to back. Magician, creator of your own reality. You have the tools. You know what to do, and or you have the natural ability and skill to do them. Then you have the Emperor. What are you going to do with those skills and those tools? The Emperor wants that structure. They want the plan. They want the itinerary. They want the syllabi. They want all of those things, because then we know what to do. Here is, you have the things and the ability, but what do we do with them? And that's what the Emperor is asking. And then the Sun, which is way after in the journey of the major arcana, is we get what we want. Yay, we win. It's the yes card. It's the sun is shining on us. And we are in that season if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. We just started spring. Whoa. Okay, that was like random. And then we have 2 of worlds. Sorry, I can't. That cough sounded so funny to me. Okay, it would happen with your pile. And then we have the 2 of worlds. Okay, 2 of worlds is the card that is like, I'm so excited and I'm enthusiastic and I just want to create something. I want to start a business. I want to put all of my energy into this one thing and I can't wait. And oh my goodness. And let's just get going. And then you have the 3 of worlds, and these are consecutive. So it's like, and it's funny because I talked about laying out the plans for the Emperor, but this is really the laying out the plans. This is after you've laid out the plans and followed through. This is you waiting for those fruits. Why do you think we see all of this fruit and this abundance nurturing? Okay. There's just so much in those pile that feels like not chaotic, but like we're painting with our fingers. Okay. We're dipping our hands in the paint and we're just like not even trying to draw something cohesive. We're just doing all this. That's what this reading feels like. Okay. And I'm over here like, okay, where was I? What was I trying to say? But, if I was to sum this up, I would say that your number one thing is, if you're not sure if you're doing too much or not, ask yourself if you have time, if you can make time for more play in your life. And if the answer is automatically, no, I can't, I'm too busy, then you're definitely carrying too many wands. And if you're like, well, I guess I could make a little more room, then that means you're admitting that you need more play, which, hello, go ahead, go do it, go. And this might require some strength on your part. I think I already touched on this, but it's because it's so hard to give to ourselves, because when we give to ourselves, we don't give ourselves the kudos or the pay or the dopamine that giving to others and doing work for others does. And this is not to say that you're not allowed to give to yourself. I'm just trying to put it out there as to why it's so hard to go on solo dates and to have fun and to do things that aren't strictly like for this obvious growth in the business sphere or in, you know, your regular typical social circles, which I don't even know what your social circles are, but that just came out. But yeah, pile 3, dolphin, you really should engage in more play, whether you're having none of it or little of it. That's definitely the advice of it. You are going to be doing big things though, as you see in the row below. So in order for you to basically open up and have the capacity to engage in these big plans and make these big moves, you need to go through the play. You need to go through the play. You need to have more fun. You need to love yourself a little harder. Okay? All right, pile 3, that was your reading, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.